Yeah. Welcome back, folks, to the
Yeah.
Wrinkled Podcast, episode 42. Now it's like real midlife crisis. This is like Camaro and, trying to wear trendy clothes again, trying
Yeah,
to look
yeah.
hip,
You
using
know,
the young lingo like Riz and
flirting with a young coworker.
yep,
You know, yeah,
who's like 20
Te-
years younger than you. Yep.
yeah. Testing the limits of your marriage.
Yep, exactly.
Having a baby outside of marriage, per chance.
Nani? Out of wedlock?
It definitely didn't happen to Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
You said food fighters? Hey man, that sounds like fun.
Is it? Isn't that an anime? Oh, that's Food Wars,
I don't know.
where they make really good food and they get like naked apparently or some weird shit.
And then throw it at each other?
No, it's just like because the food's so good, all their clothes like disappear. I guess. I don't know, man.
Yeah, you know what? Anime is wild.
Japan's weird.
Yeah. Uh, the Dave the Diver, the game, there's like anime inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And so like she'll be playing it and she's like, look at this. And it'll be somebody reacting to the food, how good it is. And they're like, oh, she's like, what is this? I'm like, listen, anime is something special.
Yeah, you got to understand.
Yep.
Animated food is just. I always think back to Ponyo.
Yep. Dude, I remember when we watched that, making that soup. It's like,
Yes, dude.
it's
That shit
so
looks so
good.
good.
Okay. So I've been looking for an office chair. And I think I told you the one that she brought from work because they were getting rid of it. It was free.
Mm.
But after like half an hour, it would slowly just sink. And so I've been looking on, online on Facebook Marketplace. I told myself, okay, I'm going to save up, bite the bullet, get a really nice office chair.
Mm-hmm. Like a Herman Miller.
I
One of those Aerons or whatever they're called.
Yeah, I was thinking like, maybe $400 or $500, something around that. Because, dude, those Herman Millers, they can be like 1,000 plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And today, the dog's going nuts. Today, I hop on Marketplace and I see a Herman Miller priced at $100. I'm like, okay, this has got to be a scam, right?
Damn.
So I messaged him like, oh, is this, how old is it? Is there anything wrong with it? Blah, blah, blah. And lady's like, oh, no, it's, it's like 4 years old. Because their warranty, I think, is 12 years.
Yeah, some crazy.
And I'm like, oh, nothing's wrong with it. She's like, no, it's in great condition. It was just my husband's like old office chair and he doesn't need it anymore. And so I told her, I'm like, okay, can I come by today and pick it up? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. So I drive out past, well, I won't give away a position, but Expensiveville, Richville. And as I'm driving through the neighborhood, I'm like, oh, I understand why it's $100 now. They don't need the money.
No.
Because I looked up the chair and the base one is like $1,000 and it only goes up from there. So I pull up, beautiful house. Every house in this neighborhood is just gorgeous. It's like 10 feet from a golf course. And, they got their garage door open. They're doing like some sort of work. Hey, how's it going? Oh, here's the chair. I look at it. Pristine. Dude, I'm sitting on it now. This thing is so nice. Like, look at it.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Dude.
All right.
It is beautiful. It's comfy. The backrest, like the way it goes back. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm going to try. The worst thing you can have in a chair is when you lean back and it leans too far back, like you can't put any pressure on it. I feel like they have it perfectly tuned to where I can lean back, be comfy, and then as soon as I apply like 3% more pressure, it goes back. And it's so smooth, dude.
I hate when the chairs at work are like that.
Yeah,
like where there's no support, So I'm just constantly just like fucking flipping like the little knobbies down there, trying to get it to like, because I like to sit back in my chair, I don't like to lean forward like a fucking goblin, I like to sit back and relax,
Yeah, you're not always locked in. Sometimes you just gotta.
Yeah.
And that's the worst. Is what's the point of the backrest if there's no support for when you actually lean back? Yeah. So I'm yeah.
Does that one have the spot for the head mount for like the headrest? I think it's at the top of the I don't think it
No,
didn't look like that one does. Yeah,
no.
but there's
Which
some that have like a little. You can just like I'm like, oh my god, dude.
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
I'd
I
fucking
saw
knock out.
those. The chair I had before this one that she brought had the
Mm,
headrest, and it was nice. I don't feel myself using it as much as I thought
that's
I
fair.
would, because like right now it's more so just about the back. So, but it's wonderful. I'm like,
That's
I
good.
don't know if I'll ever find any good of a deal ever again.
Listen, sometimes when you look hard enough, man, you'll find something every now and then.
Oh, dude, I scrambled. I was eating breakfast, and I'm like, oh my god, this is real. Can I come get it like right now? So yeah, good start to a good day. And her scrambled eggs, she made not the lady Abby's. she made
God, scrambled eggs were delicious.
she made breakfast this morning. Like she baked some hickory smoked bacon.
Mm.
Dude, I've never had baked bacon before her.
That's the best way to make it, man.
I I don't know why it never occurred to me like, oh, baking bacon, duh. But I always had it, on like the stovetop.
Yeah.
And she makes, bakes it in the oven, puts down the foil, and then I don't know why her scrambled eggs are always better. They're
Mm.
always fluffy. I don't know what she's doing, but plates it up, puts some hot sauce on it for me. Oh,
That's good.
yeah. And I got my coffee, so it's a good morning.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. It's a good day to be alive. What do you guys think? How do you like your eggs? Scrambled, runny, dripping with yolk?
Fertilize.
Oh man, it's so good. So you watched Dune too?
I watched both of them for the
Yeah.
first time last week.
What did I tell you?
So they were, honest to God, man, they're like works of art, dude. They're so
Yeah.
fucking good. They're so fucking good. You know, the
Yep.
uh the first one, like they're just gorgeous movies, right? Like they're just so good to look at.
Hmm.
Um, I know like very little of Dune. I know when the second one came out, uh, there's a lot of like, people post like, oh, the story of Dune in like a minute or something like that, and they give you
Right.
like a quick like little whatever. So
Synopsis.
I know a
Yeah.
little bit, I know stuff about like the future and kind of what happens, but I don't know enough about like the characters. Like I could tell you who that is, but I don't know anything about him, right?
Right.
You know, but watching the movies now, I'm like, okay, all right. I will say though, I am a, I'm a Stilgar man.
Oh,
You know what I'm
dude.
saying? I 100% believe in Paul Atreides,
Yep.
Paul Muad'Dib. Bro, that shit,
Yep. Like there's
dude, that
certain
shit was
characters
so good, man.
like Captain America, Optimus Prime, they'll give you a speech and you'll follow him into battle. Dude,
hmm
I'll follow Stilgar behind Paul. Like,
Dude, I'm in there, man.
yep.
There's that scene in the second one. Spoilers, by the way, for a movie that came out in February. Um, where he goes to like the council where he says, "Oh, you have to be a leader to talk,"
Mhm.
and then the guy he gets up and he's like, "No one here could challenge me," and everyone's like already they pull out like their cryo knives ready to like whatever. Yeah, he
Mhm.
finds the one guy and he's talking like about his grandma. He's like, "Oh, your grandma she was a believer. She passed like 9 moons ago." Or something, and then he starts talking, and the guy's just like, he's just blown away, and he like kneels down and he calls him the Lizan al Gaib. I'm just like, bruh, that's it. Like if somebody said that shit to me about, obviously he's never seen or met my grandmother before, but if some man came up to me and said, "Hey, this is what happened, and this is what happened in your life, and I've never met you before," I'd be like, "All right, I'm following this dude."
Yep.
You know?
It's like, I don't need to fight y'all. I'm just going to demonstrate to you that I am. I'm going to talk about someone I didn't know who lived 80 years before me.
And then
It
he's and
was,
then he's gonna fight. He fights Fade Routha, which
dude.
fucking dude, Austin Butler as
Yeah.
Fade Routha might be one of the best like casting decisions of the past like 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Honest to God, because he is fucking excellent in that, dude. He gives off like that, and the way he mimics Skarsgård's like speech pattern is fucking phenomenal, dude.
Oh, yeah. It's not a lisp, but
It's like
that
a
catch in the
heavy,
cheek,
yeah,
like, you can tell they're related.
yeah. It's shit. That shit is so good, dude.
And
I
I
love the shot on what is their home planet, like Getty Prime or
Yeah.
Gideon Prime or something like that, where
Hmm.
it's just like the black sun and like, dude, fucking immaculate film, dude.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking fantastic. So far, that's probably my movie of the year. You know, I haven't seen
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've heard some negative things about the second Joker movie, unfortunately. Um,
So have I, but the more time goes on, the more I don't trust critics because
I
they
mean, no,
continue to prove wrong.
yeah.
Like, so
Like I said, I just, and again, that's something I did want to talk about is like review scores in general. Um, but
I
yeah,
have yet
like
to see
if
a consumer review it, like a non-paid critic. I haven't seen
yeah,
anybody's personal opinion on it. So
I mean, but unfortunately, that's the territory we get into where like, of course, if somebody's interested in the movie, they're gonna go watch it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's true.
So it's like we end up on the spectrum of, hey, do you believe like the critic who reviewed 30 movies this week, or do you believe like the fans who were interested to go see it? You know, it's like I can see some.
Yeah, some bias
Obviously,
there.
the only opinion that really matters is yours. You know what I'm saying? I love the first movie,
Oh,
first Joker. I thought it was fucking amazing.
excellent.
So when they announced the second one, I was like, oh, I'll watch that. You know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, great fucking film, man. Great fucking film.
I told you I think that Dune is going to be like this generation's Lord of the Rings. Like
I
that
could definitely see that.
perfect trilogy where it's just it's immaculate. You go through it and everything about it. I love the fight between Fade and Paul and how there's no score. It's
Just
just
quiet.
the fight, their grunts, the moves, them hitting each other. That's all you hear, that's all you see. It's so fast. And I feel like that's a true display of what they were training for. The
Mhm.
fights in the other movies were good, but when you see Duncan Idaho fight in the first one, he's so far above everyone else he's fighting. It doesn't
Yes.
feel like there's any challenge. He's just, all right, come on. Like, I'm
And
schooling
then
all
yeah,
of you.
he's even fighting the Sardaukar, which is like the Emperor's like guard,
Yeah.
essentially.
And
You
he's
know,
just
and he's just like
mopping the floor with them.
exactly. You know, he's fighting like 15, 20 dudes and he's like killing them all,
Yeah.
you know.
And so this is the first time it's like, whoa, okay, this is a whole nother level.
I love the
Uh,
fight at the end of the first one, uh, where they cross the desert, they see the worm, and it kind of like pops out and he's looking at Paul and his mom, you know,
oh,
because it's chasing him across the dune. Um, and then after all that, you know, Stilgar's there to talk to him, and then that Jameis guy, he wants to fight Paul,
mhm.
you know, because essentially he's saying, well, she bested you in combat, so she should lead. And Stilgar's like, well, no, wait a minute, you know. And then he's like testing the honor essentially, you know. So he asked for a champion who's gonna fight in her stead, and fucking Paul's just like, you know what, I'll do it,
Yep.
you know. And I love that where he's like looking at the wall, and then what's Zendaya's character's name?
Chani?
Chani, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
She walks up and she gives him the knife, and then he has the vision. I'm like, dude, this shit is. I'm telling you, man, this shit is so good, dude.
And that second one, it finally clicks like, oh, he's been seeing the multiple possibilities and he finally
Exactly,
learns how to
yeah.
see the one. And
That
man,
shit
oh,
was,
and he talks like
dude.
that switch up after he drinks the worm fluid
Yes,
and
the
he
water of
turns into
life,
like, I see it all. And he knows, he's like, she'll understand. I
dude.
see
I love that
everything.
scene, man, where the emperor arrives and then the other Bene Gesserit lady's there, and he's talking silence. You know, he just like gets shocked, you know, because
Yep.
she doesn't understand that like he has the voice.
Right. And
What a great fucking movie,
I
man.
love the effect. It reminds me of when they do the Force in Star Wars movies, that like bass noise where they make it apparent that don't face track. Come on now. Where they make it apparent that the Force is being used, and same in
Mhm.
Dune, that like heavy bass echo. It's like,
Yes.
whoa. It's so cool, man. God,
Yeah,
what a
listen,
great film.
this is why I love Denis Villeneuve, man. This guy could fucking make anything out of anything, you know. So I'm excited for the third one. I'm excited for whatever he's got next. Um, yeah, man.
It's great.
I want more. I kind of want to read the books. I just started reading Hyperion though by Dan Simmons. It's another like science fiction
How's that?
It's fucking excellent.
Yeah.
Um, it takes place on a planet called Hyperion,
Mm.
or multiple planets they talk about, but it mainly takes place in Hyperion. It's like they take a pilgrimage. There's something called a time vault. There's something called the Shrike. There's like a bunch of different characters. They each have a different like story they tell. So I just finished up the Colonel's story, and I'm moving on to whoever's next. I think I'm reading the Poets now. But there's all these little short stories they talk about how like they're connected. Like these guys were chosen to take the last pilgrimage to Hyperion, essentially. Um, but there's some crazy shit. There's like one story in there that I'm just like, it blew my mind. I was like, how good that shit is. I was like, God damn. It's just one of those like the first day I read it, I knocked out like 100 and like almost 30 pages, I think. You
Hey,
know, I could not stop putting. Couldn't put it down. You
that's a
know,
great feeling. Like it's such a good. It reminds me of like a really good game when you're 5 minutes in and you already know like, oh, this is gonna be my
dude.
life.
I still have that's my longest play, like single, like literally sat and played Red Dead 2 for like 18 hours. You
Damn,
know,
dude, I have not
like,
finished that. I only got like 4 or 5 hours in
dude,
because I think
that's
Death
another one.
Stranding came out not too long after that.
It would have been like a year later, I
Was it?
think.
Something pulled me away from Red Dead,
I
but
know. Well, God of War came out earlier that year. The first one that came out in April of 2018. Red Dead came out like September ish, I think.
maybe it was God of War because I know I didn't get that on release. But yeah, I need to go
Yeah,
back because I
that's
know
another one,
everyone
man.
slurps Red Dead. Like,
I mean, for
and
good reason, right?
oh
You
yeah,
know,
I've seen like the world building. I've seen the clips of the people actually building the railway. And I
yeah.
love when life happens regardless of the player. Like when things progress, like that's incredible.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, oh fuck. I need to get back into reading, man. There's
I know.
just
I felt my brain getting dumb. I was like, I got to pick up a book. You know.
yeah. Yeah, I know we talked about that a while ago. You go too long without reading, it's a
I'm telling you, you get like a brain
when
fog. You know what I'm saying? You there's like I don't know. I guarantee there's something scientific about it, but you activate like a way different part of your brain. You know, when you read. I feel like.
yeah, I mean
You
it's
know.
probably just like everything else, when it comes to speaking, if you're only using like a set 20, 25, 30 words constantly and you're only using these 5 words once a year,
Hmm.
the neural pathways are just going to like fade. Maybe it's or
Gonna
like memory,
shrivel up and die.
you know. Um yeah, man. God. I feel like I was thinking about this the other day with people are super cynical these days about new games that come out because oh, things used to be better. I think it takes like a monumental release, Dune. People can slurp the original Dunes all they want. There is no way you're going to watch these new Dunes that are visually stunning with a score that is immaculate and be like, oh, yeah, the older ones are just better movies. Now, I can understand if the writing was crap, that's valid.
Yeah.
But to sit here where the story is incredible, it's basically the same, just with some slight changes. It looks better, it sounds better, and be like, oh, yeah, it's better. It was better back then. I feel like it takes an almost perfect release today to pull people away from the nostalgia. Like
Well, and
Elden Ring came out, and I feel like that finally, people who were Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 1, oh, the original games were so much. Now Elden Ring came out. Oh, this is perfection. This is
see,
better.
and here's my problem. So talking about the first part that you have, right? You talking about like the nostalgia thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I don't know what the books. I haven't read the books, the Doom books.
Mm-hmm.
So to be fair, the original with like Sting and what's his name? Not David Lynch. Fucking I can't remember the actor's name. Um, but to take that and is that more closely related to the book than the new movies are, right? If you were a big fan of the books and then you watch the old one, you go, well, this recreates about 98% of the book correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then the new ones, oh, they only do about 70% of the books correctly. Now, if you're a diehard, and you could say like, well, I prefer this version because it's more faithful to the books. That's fine, right? But again, like you said, you cannot objectively say that that's a better movie. You might like it more,
Mhm.
but it's not a better movie compared to
Right.
the ones we've had. Um, and I think that's a very fair criticism of I think things nowadays. It's everything's either a 10 or a 1.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
It
saying? And that's where people fall in line for some weird reason. And you can't have any like in between, you know what I'm saying? Like the games of my I'm gonna use myself for example. The games on my top 10 list of games of all time, maybe 2 of those are 10 out of 10 games. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Games don't have to be perfect for you to like them. They just have to be fun games,
Yeah.
And like people worry about the score. Like when Spider-Man 2 came out, and then IGN gave it like an 8 or something like that, or like a 7. Everyone's fucking losing their shit. Like, how is this possible? Like literally in the review, it says everything was improved on. How can it be different, or how can it get a worse score than the first game? Essentially, I'm like, because it did.
Yeah.
Are you still gonna pick it up? Are you still gonna play it? That's all that fucking matters then.
Yeah.
People use scores as like a determinant, like, hey, this is very good. You should play it, you should watch it, whatever. But I'm like, that's not my style. You know, People talk about The Boys and Invincible all the time. It's like, that's not my type of show. They
Mhm.
could be the best shows ever made, and I probably still would never watch them.
Right.
That's just not the type of show I like to enjoy. So why would I force myself to watch something that I don't enjoy because everyone else says it's good? The same thing is true also. What would be why would I stop myself from playing something I would want to play that somebody else doesn't want to enjoy? It doesn't make any sense. I'm
Yep.
like, just like what you like, enjoy the movie, the music, the shows and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it
Well,
doesn't have to
let's
be perfect, it doesn't have to be whatever. And then going back to Red Dead, you know, I love Red Dead. I think it's a fucking phenomenal game. I think it's not in my top 10 list, but it probably should be in a top 10 list of video games of all time.
Mhm.
It is not a perfect game. It is
Right.
far from it. Is it a great game? Yes. Is it a fantastic game? Yes. But it is not a perfect game. And that's where the issue lies, right? That's where the separation lies of like no, dude, don't get me started on the amount of like top 10 video games and movies I've seen over the past like 3 weeks or
Mhm.
so. I think it's like one of the trends on TikTok is kind of like circling around. It's always like these crazy. It's like movies that everyone enjoys, right? I'm like, listen, this is a good top 10, but it's not like anything crazy. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I'm like, come on, man, give me
It's
some weird
something
shit.
Yeah, it's a list that'll get a lot of, like, agreeers, maybe some
Yes,
chatter, but
yes,
nobody's like, "My top 10, number 5, Killer Clowns from Outer Space."
yeah,
Like, goofy ass horror movie, I enjoy it. It's not in
I
my
love it.
top 10, but it's it's in my top 10 enjoyable horror movies.
I
Like,
I,
it's
I
so
always hit him with
goofy.
the Squidward, daring today, aren't we?
Yeah.
Because it's always like this, like super, like top 10 games I see. It's like Halo 3, Baldur's Gate 3, fucking Elden Ring, Red Dead 2, and I'm like, these are just good games.
Right.
If these are your top 10 games, I'm sorry, because you should be playing way more games.
Yeah, it's a safe list that nobody's
Yeah.
gonna, call you out for.
I'm like, come on, man. Throw
Like,
throw some, throw some crazy shit in there.
yeah, like, God, I don't know, what's a weird game that's really good? Oh, dude,
Psychonauts.
Jasant. I'd put Jasant on my top 10.
Really?
Yeah, it took
That's good.
3 hours and
Listen,
dude,
Abzu's on my top 10, so I
yeah,
understand.
dude, Jasant was immaculate. It was relaxing. It was so cool that you pick up the entire story through the little journals from people. A
I
beautiful
did
game.
like that. The music was great. It looks
Yep.
great too. It's the art style
Yep.
is fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
I
So
do. I gotta finish that.
that's definitely on my top 10. One Ratchet and Clank, A Crack in Time.
Excellent,
Oh,
excellent choice.
just yeah, like
Because you got childhood
phenomenal.
nostalgia, solid game, right? Like it's just fun.
Yep.
That's fine.
It was such a big jump from the other Ratchet and Clanks. It was almost open world, like open planet, open world.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the maps were massive. You had the
Mm-hmm.
jet boots, so you could get around
Yes.
quick. The story was so much more adult compared to the other games.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just, oh man, so much. That game, along with the rest of the Ratchet and Clanks, are slowly convincing me to upgrade my tier on PlayStation Plus because they're all
Mm.
streamable.
Listen, man, fucking, you got the Steam Deck, bro. Fucking put EMU Deck on that bitch. Load your PCSX2 emulator. Fucking, there you go. You got a portable Ratchet and Clank machine.
That's true. I
I,
forgot
I
about that.
fucking play both HD remakes of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on my Steam
Oh
Deck.
man,
Come on, man.
that's true. Oh, I saw a crazy take. Dude, I forget
Oh,
what I posted. It might have been a Black Myth Wukong video. I'm
mhm.
not. You haven't tried that
Oh
yet,
yeah.
right?
No, I haven't bought it yet.
Great game. Like 42 hours for me to beat it. Fantastic. I would have said game of the year if I didn't play Astrobot, which is my personal game of the year. I platinumed it in 23 hours. Not a single moment that I didn't enjoy. There was
Listen,
never.
and that is what we call, my ladies and friends, a fucking video game.
Dude.
To its core, to its base of what it is a fun video game, right? And that's all that fucking matters.
Yep.
You
I
know,
was never like, oh,
abstinently.
let me skip through this part to get to the fun part. It's like every
Yeah.
part's a fun part. So yeah, perfection.
That's good.
And this guy posted, oh, there hasn't been a single great game made since Ocarina of Time. And I'm like, all right, you're
See,
on
people just
one.
be saying shit.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
people just be
like, you're
saying.
insane. Like, man, you have that grudge out. You put that chip on your shoulder and you go into it with that mentality. You're not going to enjoy anything.
Nope. The one I saw was that Ocarina of Time is underrated. And I said, you
no.
mean the game that held #1 spot of like best video game of all time for like years? I think until like The Witcher 3 came out. You
Dude,
tell me that
Ocarina of
game's
Time,
underrated. I'm
I
like,
think it's a
bruh,
little overrated right now.
I agree.
Like it's definitely overglazed. It's a great game, but let's not pretend like there haven't been amazing games in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I do want to say, right, your top 10 can be whatever it want to be. You know, your favorite video game can be whatever the hell it wants to be, right? I'm not shitting on your choice of video game. I'm just saying, like, when you feel like you need to play every single big release and it needs to be in your top 10, I'm like, that's a problem. You know, like, yeah, games are good, right? But there's a lot of games that aren't.
yeah.
You know, and like, if that's the only games you've played are like the big hitters from like the last like 10 years, I'm like, I'm sorry. You know, because there's been like a fucking, like almost the second coming of Christ of fucking indie games.
Oh,
You
dude.
know, and I'm like, you're missing. There's people that are missing out on so many good games because like the word indie is attached to it. I'm like, dude, come on now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know,
I agree. They're only looking for big giant AAA games.
absolutely. You know,
I posted about that. Like, dude, It Takes Two won Game of the Year, and somebody's like, "Oh, that's because 2021 was a bad year for games." No, it wasn't. You look back at, or I'm sorry, 2021. There were some great, like, big AAA games in 2021. Like, there's more than just the 5 big releases that you've heard of.
yeah,
You know, like we talked about. I mean, Dave the Diver, super entertaining. Just saw it, incredible. There's a couple that came out on Game Pass. Dungeons of Hinterberg,
yes,
very
you
fun.
were talking about that.
Like, you just got to branch out a little bit. Vampire Survivors, it's $5.
Oh, dude. You got I play that shit in my sleep, man.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good,
and I think it's free on phone now.
Easy
come
pickup.
on, yeah, like come on. Oh man, it's a great time. I'm
telling you, and here's, hold on before we continue on. This is why Last of Us ruined video games. The first Last of Us is why it ruined video games.
Okay.
Because it had the cinematic, right? It had the big story beats. It had like the cool story. It had like cool monsters. To me, I hated the gameplay. That's why I never finished it, because the gameplay sucked. It just felt awful to control. But now every Sony game has been like that. You know, this crazy like cinematic whatever. And I'm like, man, and that's why the budgets get so big. That's why games take like 5-6 years to get worked on. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to take there's no risks in video games anymore because they know what works, they know what sells, you know.
I,
That's why every game since then has to be this long, like 80, 100, you know what I'm saying? Like, remember when they were showing off Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Oh, 100
yeah,
hours of gameplay. Game fucking sucked nuts.
yeah.
You know,
I have not went
was
back
the
to that.
base game? I mean, either. I haven't played it since we played it like when it first came out,
Yeah.
back in like was it late 21 or whatever it
Hmm.
was. You know, um,
It's just too
like
long. There's too
yeah,
much.
I like Last of Us 2, but it's an okay
Oh,
game.
I love that
You
game.
know, I like it because the story is better than the first one, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, and it gives us like good themes essentially. You know, it gives us good like back and forth and doing what's right versus doing what's wrong, revenge, all that fun shit. You know,
I like that it
but
didn't end on a happy ending.
absolutely.
I like that by the end. I'm not even gonna say spoilers. Like the game's been out for a long time. You don't win.
Nope.
You lose. Like
You've become, as at least with Abby
yeah.
or Ellie,
No,
you
no, no,
become the
Ellie. Yeah.
thing. You become the thing that you essentially hated most.
Yep. And
You
you
know.
lose everything because of it.
Yep.
Uh, and that's great. I was just talking to somebody last night. I wish they'd bring out more movies where the villain isn't redeemed.
Yeah.
I think it's what makes Thanos such a good villain. He had his reasons and he stuck to it. He didn't, in the end, say, maybe I was wrong and then redeem. Like, no, give us bad guys who stick to their guns
I mean, and
to the
even
end.
maybe internally, right? Like he could have had that thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, am I doing what is right? You know what I'm saying? But if his will is strong enough and the power of his ideal is strong enough, then he would say, no, I am doing what's right because of this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like you can have that internal struggle. That's fine. You know, but when a villain who's literally like whole thing is like fucking uh Griffith from Berserk, you know, like super evil motherfucker. But if it came out that he was just like he's been redeemed somehow, I'd be like, that's fucked up.
Mhm.
You know, like that's just 5 levels of fucked up.
I, yeah. Like if at the end of the Namek saga, Frieza was like, you know what?
I want to be a good
I
guy.
made a mistake.
I want to go
Maybe I
Super
was
Saiyan.
wrong. It's like, no, you want to kill everyone, you want to be the strongest, and you stick to it. And even now in Super, like, yeah, he fought for the tournament, but he still is out for himself.
But it was selfish. Yeah, exactly. It was because
Yeah,
he could come back from the dead.
yeah, exactly.
You
So
know.
that's why he's such a good villain. So I was Assassin's Creed Shadows coming out, what, in like a month and a half, I think.
I think November, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we went to the Philippines, and I was talking to one of like Abby's family's friend or something,
Mhm.
and he was asking, with this game, why did they make Yasuke the main character? Why didn't they make like somebody else, native to Japan or whatnot?
Mhm.
And I told him, well, he was like an actual historical figure. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that. And I'm like, also, when it makes sense to me, is Ghosts of Tsushima exists. It is like the perfect, like you already have a damn near perfect game that tells a story
Yeah, it's the
of
perfect
a
samurai game.
samurai.
Yeah.
Exactly. Why would you compete with that? Like, they did such an amazing job, and everyone knows it.
Mhm.
Everyone slurps Ghosts of Tsushima, as they
It's a great
should.
game.
So why would you even attempt to try to tell like a similar story? Even because it's already going to get compared to that.
Mhm.
So why not do something a little different? You have your two protagonists that actually have different gameplay and different story, which is something I hated about Odyssey. You can
Mhm.
play as Alexios or Cassandra, and the story is the exact same. The gameplay is
Yes.
the same. Everything's the same. So what's the point? Give me
I
something
think
that's different.
there's a little bit of change depending on who you pick, but it's not crazy from what I understand.
I think it's like dialogue options. I don't
Yeah,
like the game.
it's
It
not
ends the
wild.
same. There's no difference in missions and whatnot. It's crazy, and I don't know. I feel like it just makes so much sense. Of okay, it'd be like somebody trying to compete and create something close to Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Like it's already on top. The way you stand out is by doing something different.
Mhm.
So, what's the issue? You know? I
Yeah, unfortunately, man, you know, this day and age, having a person of color, in a game that is going to be majorly, excuse me, um, one race, you know, it gets people upset. And, you know, and even though he was real, you know, whether or not he was, I've heard he was a samurai. I've heard he was a samurai. He was a retainer to Yorinobu. Is all kinds of shit. You know, I don't know. I haven't really dealt into that to get 100% of the facts, but it's always interesting to me, right? Because when Leonardo da Vinci was in Assassin's Creed 2, nobody gave a shit. When George Washington was in Assassin's Creed 3, nobody gave a shit. You know, uh, when Jack the Ripper was in, was it Syndicate or whatever one?
Syndicate.
It's like nobody gave a shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, are we 100% for certain that these characters would have interacted with each other at any point? You know, Assassin's Creed 3 is probably the most believable one. You know,
I love Assassin's Creed 3
because obviously we're in the colonies, we're in the Americas. Obviously, George Washington would be, that makes sense, right?
Right.
But it's like, it's just characters in becoming in like introducing real life characters into these games. Like, I don't see why that's a problem. Even Borgia, he was the actual Pope in Assassin's Creed 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But that motherfucker didn't have an apple of Eden.
Right.
You know, why is his existence okay, but Yasuke's is not? You know what I'm saying?
And I've seen the criticism of like, oh, again, why don't you have, you know, like an actual samurai or somebody
She's
who
right
grew
there.
Up. Exactly. I'm like, you have the second protagonist, the shinobi. Why are you flipping your shit?
Because, man, people like to point the finger and say the R word and say W and say, hey, that's racist because a black man in Japan ain't no way.
Like, I could see if he wasn't a historical figure and they just like threw in some black dude, then I would be like, okay, understandable.
A little weird.
But he was actually a dude. Like, and again, you have the shinobi, the whole other character who you can play the entire game as.
Yeah, you never even have to. Like, maybe there's some missions you have to play as Yasuke. Like, hey, this is a Yasuke only mission or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, they said you can play like 90% of the game as one character or the other. Like, what? What's really the issue? Like,
we know what the issue is.
Yeah.
You know, like, but when Gods of Egypt has not one Egyptian person in that movie and everyone's like European, it's like, hey, great movie, we love it.
Yeah, I'm
like, but the argument's right there. Why can't I make that argument, but you can make the argument for Yasuke? You know what I'm saying? It's like, because it's, come on, man. They interpret that stuff all the time. And I'm like, oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah. Gods of Egypt. Jeez, what
Don't you love my favorite Egyptian, Gerard Butler?
Dude, that was, oh yeah, that was painful. I didn't watch that until like 4 months ago.
I watched it when when it first came out, and I was like, I'm never.
Yeah, no, it is. Ooh, it's brutal.
Because fucking Funhouse, they kept making jokes about it, and I was like, what is this movie they're talking about? You know,
it is worthy of all the jokes they made.
Yeah, and then
Norton.
Norton, the fuck?
Norton security, man. I gotta protect my shit.
Listen, I mean, nowadays not really, but I wouldn't use Norton.
Listen, Norton's good. Kaspersky's good, but they're really expensive.
I have my lifetime subscription or a lifetime purchase for Malwarebytes that I still use. So.
They make lifetime?
Well, that was back when they
grandfathered in.
Yeah. So I still have my old key. It's legitimately my first. I have a email or in my email inbox, I have like a folder for like any online orders I make or like donations or shit like that. I have it in there. It's my very first purchase that I have in that folder is for my Malwarebytes.
Damn. You know? That's good.
So
that's like
that was over 10 years ago.
when you could buy for one set price Photoshop.
Yes.
That my stepdad had it. And I was like, man, looking back at that, it's genius. Because now you got to pay the monthly subscription. And
that's why I use Affinity now for any of my like photo editing I got to do.
Yeah.
Because it was like $50 or something like that. And it comes with like a whole bunch of suites and shit. I'm like, give me that.
Yeah, there's a lot of other options. The only good thing about the Adobe suite is the constant updates.
Yes.
Because they put a lot of money into updating and new features and whatnot.
And the tutorials.
Yeah, that too. There's like a whole classroom of, how to do this.
It's like you look up tutorials on how to use like uh like any Vegas program and then look up tutorials for Final Cut.
Yep.
You know, it's like
Yep.
night and day difference. You know.
Yep. What is it? Premiere Pro, Final Cut, and DaVinci. If you're not using one of those three, the tutorials for anything else suck.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, DaVinci's crazy. For being free, that has so much in its video editor. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty overwhelming. I had an easier time using Premiere Pro than DaVinci.
Interesting.
Like, it's wild. But yeah, man, I'm excited for Shadows. Like,
I am too.
shit,
Looks fun.
samurai game, Japan, sign me up. I'll take all of them. Like,
You know,
it's my bread and butter. I love it.
I think. Well, I still got to finish up Space Marine 2.
Hey, man,
I've only ever touched the first mission.
what do you think of it so far?
It's exactly what I wanted it to be. You know, from all the gameplay and from all the stuff I've seen, I'm like, it just looks like a fucking solid like action game set in the Warhammer universe, customization. Like, I was like, hey, that's perfect. That's like again, a game doesn't need to be extra fucking like crazy for it to be fun. You know, the
Yep.
Space Marine is literally the perfect example of that. Like the crazy shit about it is just the lore. The gameplay is just a hack and slash, some shooting,
Yeah.
some set pieces, whatever the case is. That's it.
You don't need to
You
watch
know,
a half-hour video on a synopsis of the controls and how to do a best build. It's like you get in, it gives you a tutorial, kind of, and you just learn how to play in the first like 5 minutes.
yeah.
And
I was a little, I was a little fucked up when I was playing, but it was fun. I kept on dude, the first mission, that very last, where you fight that big tyrannid.
oh,
I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
the Carnifex, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I was surviving. I was like dodging and shit like that. And then got trapped in the corner and I couldn't get out. And I was like, no. And then the cutscene happened. And I was like, oh, was I supposed to die or could you kill it?
Yeah, no,
I think you can kill it.
maybe. Well, you're
It might be
supposed to die, but I don't know what happens if you kill it.
I think it might be one of those like dual cutscene things,
Oh,
It's
actually,
like
I don't know if
like
that
in
one had a
Sekiro
health
with
bar.
the first boss.
Oh,
No, it
yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
It didn't have it. Oh, does it need a health bar?
Yeah, because if it doesn't have a health bar, that's how I knew that you were supposed to die, because your health bar goes away, and I don't
Yeah.
think the Carnifex had a health bar.
Oh, well, I was going ham, man. I swear to God, I survived for like 20 minutes fighting that thing, and it felt like it was like that, but I was in there, man.
Hell
So
yeah.
super fun. I can't wait to customize I know what my chapter is going to be. It's going to be the Carcharodons because I love sharks. Kind of have to go with my theme here. I think my second best would probably be salamanders because they're closely morally related to what I feel like Space Marines should do, like protectors of the universe and taking away evil and like whatever. Oh, speaking of taking away evil, I forgot about this. Did you see the new Batman they're coming out with?
On the animated,
It's a no, it's a comic. Absolute Batman.
yes, where his symbol is an axe,
Dude, who and his ears are knives
Yep.
and his cape is a weapon.
I see
And I'm like,
people like,
who
what the
thought of
hell is
this?
this? And I'm like, how are y'all complaining? This is sick as shit.
Dude, this looks fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
might be like the first Batman comic I buy in a long time.
I have recently thought about, so I'm not really a big collector.
Me neither.
Like, I have pops, but I
Well,
stopped
not
buying
comic. Okay, hold on, wait. I thought we were talking comic. No, I am a big collector, just not comic.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not a big collector of things. Like, I used to buy pops. That's an expensive hobby, so stop that.
Mhm.
And I just don't hold on to shit. But like comics,
My mom got into pops, man.
Yeah, dude, it is.
Yeah, because they were releasing a lot of like rock and roll.
Oh, okay, like old bands and whatnot.
Yeah, she loves that shit, man.
Yep. They're really cool. Like, they're cool to look at, but
Yeah.
dude, it gets expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that comic panel, and I saw, like, I don't know if it's the first panel of that, but he literally like puts the axe on and then just chops a dude's hand off.
The hand, yeah.
Yeah, and it's flying off. I'm like, that is so fucking cool.
That is the cleanest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I love how big, like, the logo, it's just like so thick on his chest,
Yeah, it's
and he like take his ears. I'm like, bruh, that shit looks so dope, man.
It
Whoever made
really,
that shit deserves all the money in the world. That shit is
it
so sick.
feels like Batman, because it's not just his belt; he has weapons everywhere.
It's
Like,
ingenuity,
oh,
right?
I'm out of everything. Like, oh God, yeah,
And
I
he's
might
so
pick that up.
big too. That's what I like about it. He's so fucking beefy, man. I'm like,
Yep.
yo, this shit looks kind of fucking sick.
That's why I liked Ben Affleck as Batman, because he is fucking huge.
I didn't like the chin, man.
Oh, his little. Yeah,
Yeah. I didn't care for
yeah.
that. You know, I feel like Bruce Wayne should have like a clean, like not rugged look, but like, yeah, I could see this guy being like a model, kind of. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like he's conventionally attractive, maybe more so, but he's got something about him. You know,
Mhm. He's got
Bruce
some
Wayne
mystique.
or Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne, it just looks like a dude. You know, like I don't know how
Yeah.
to explain it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like he just
Christian
looks
Bale
like,
definitely did a better job as Bruce Wayne.
yeah, you know. And I like Robert Pattinson because it's like, again, conventionally attractive, maybe even more so, but like
I'm
not
excited
crazy
for
buff.
the Batman
Oh,
2, because I feel like this is going to be, we're going to see that more Bruce Wayne side of him. That
I hope.
cleaned up, he's taking that a little more seriously, and he's recognizing, like, I have to do the Bruce Wayne part to do the Batman
I
part.
know that Penguin show is coming out
Yeah,
on
and it takes place
Max.
after that.
No,
Did you
the second one
Yeah,
does.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Did you see that there's the animated Batman show with
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jensen Ackles as the voice?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I haven't seen it, but
I'm gonna watch that, because fuck, now I want to go get that comic. Is it out yet?
I don't know. I heard in like a month. I heard like the end or middle of October or something like that.
What's it called? Batman what?
Absolute Batman, I think.
Absolute. Oh, there we go. When does Absolute Batman come out? October 9th. Okay.
Oh, it's like a month. Yeah,
Yeah, I might pick that up,
yeah. I might too.
and then we
Because
can
honestly,
talk about how fucking dope it is.
you know what I am excited for though. This might just be me. Uh, Maybe it's just whatever. But on Tuesday, we have the new edition of D&D dropping officially.
Ooh.
So if you pre-ordered on D&D Beyond, you had access to the digital version.
Mhm.
I didn't do that. I pre-ordered. Well, I have because we use Foundry for the what we play D&D on. It's the virtual tabletop.
Right.
And they partnered with Wizards of the Coast. They're dropping the handbook on Tuesday, so I'm excited to get my hands on that. Throw it in our game, see what's going to be new. Circle of Sea Druid, I'm very excited for. Because again, that should be one of the things. Like Druid, obviously nature and shit like that should have just been default. You know, fucking ocean. You know, like why can't I be a shark
That's fair.
and rip somebody in half?
God,
You know,
that'd be sweet. Oh my God. Yeah. Can you imagine, like, you think you're getting into a fight with just some dude, and then he turns into a great white? Shit myself. Like,
well, so here's something I learned about D&D rules when it comes to like. So when I say werewolf, right? What do you think of?
like, you know, human who can turn into like a wolf.
Exactly. But you know what the important part of that word werewolf is?
Where?
It's the wolf part. Where is any so where sharks they exist?
So does where
Bears?
just refer to the fact that you're like a half wolf? Like you're a
Yes.
human who can turn into?
Yes, essentially. Or that's your transformation. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
interesting.
where sharks do exist in D&D. This is something I've learned. And
Wow.
they just like will become like they'll just get like shark parts and they'll get like way stronger. Think of Nanawe from Suicide Squad, the second one.
I was thinking of Gang Orca from My Hero.
Oh, my hair. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
A
kind
were
of like that.
orca. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but see, he doesn't start off as that's his base form.
That's true.
You know, so it has to be like a transformation, like a partial transformation.
Oh.
Uh-oh. You good? You cramping?
Yeah. No.
Something-
I just,
Oh.
you know how, like, maybe I'm just a little stiff. I was twisting like
Mhm.
this, and I kept my foot on the ground while I twisted, so my legs stayed still while my back twisted,
Oh.
and the base of my spine popped. And it was one of those, like, oh, it's in shock, but it felt kind of good. But I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa. But I I didn't know that. That's interesting. So yeah, like a
Yeah.
werebear, a wereshark.
Yeah. So
That's
werewolf is just
cool.
like that's what you transform into is a wolf. Human wolf hybrid thing.
Interesting. That's
So
cool. Oh,
what I first thought, because new edition D&D, right? So Circle of the Sea Druid with a cleric, a dip of some cleric. Because here's what you get. You get access to Spirit Guardians on your cleric, right? Which is the floaty things, when we play Baldur's Gate and Shadowheart will
yeah.
have. So
It's
you get
like a
access to
little
that.
ring of
Spirits,
damage
essentially, that
dealing
kind of,
spirit. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Combine that with Circle of Sea Druid. Flavor your Spirit Guardians as sharks instead of spirits. So you throw enemies into a fucking whirlpool of like sharks that they get mauled to death.
So you hit him with Sharknado, basically.
Essentially, that's immediately what I thought of when I saw the Circle of Sea Druid. I was like, okay, who's not doing this?
Dude, again, could you imagine? Like, what do? I launch Sharknado. Huh?
And it's even better because you're inside. You're inside and you're just like watching as like three sharks are like spinning around,
You're just
fucking
looking.
like.
That's great,
You're
man.
able to like stab through it as well,
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
So imagine that. So that's what I
That'd
first
be
thought
cool.
of. So if I ever get to join a table, hopefully, and we're playing the new edition, I would definitely do see the Circle C Druid with some dip of a cleric of some kind, probably life cleric just for extra heals. But oh man, I'm imagining it now.
That sounds awesome. That sounds really cool.
I'm very excited.
Damn, dude, I remember back in basic training when we'd reached like after the first 10 weeks when you reach like the school training and you start learning your job. As long as you don't screw up during the week, they let you out on Sundays. And you can go around the base and you can get your hair cut, shop, hang out, and then you got to come back. Your paycheck gets reduced quite a bit for like the food you're eating. They also put some away in the retirement.
Mm-hmm.
This dude spent like a whole check, which I think for him was like, it was weekly, or was it every 2 weeks? I can't remember. It was like $650. Walked back to base with like 8 thick ass D&D books.
My man.
Literally bought all of them. It was like, holy shit. It's like, dude, you got to put these away. You can't read them. Like, you got to store them in storage.
Yeah.
They're not going to let you keep them in your bed.
Yeah.
It was wild. I was like, dude, you had to like walk back, a few miles with these. It was crazy.
Listen, I understand it, man. When I was selling off little bits of my old books and stuff like that, it hurt. So,
yeah,
I respect his decision.
I love those hardcover books, and you see all the pictures of the monsters and whatnot. It's
yeah,
great.
I'm gonna get the collection when they all drop, the Player's Handbook, DM's Guide, and then the Monster Manual. I'm gonna get all three of those hardcover, but also get them digitally as well, just so I have them.
Oh yeah,
because
that would be
I
really
didn't.
cool.
Yeah, because ever since I kind of gotten back into the DD the last like year or so, I didn't buy any of the physical books because I knew they were working on the new edition. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait. So,
yeah,
I'm very excited.
I bet like it's gonna be an exciting couple months, man.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna check out Dragon Age: The Veilguard?
I probably will because it actually looks like an enjoyable game.
Yeah, I know people are like, oh, this looks kind of like goofy and cartoony. I'm like, that's why it looks good to me. Along with the combat changes, looks fantastic. I
hated Inquisition.
that
is a game I actively do not enjoy and have never had fun with.
I remember playing like an hour of it and then picking up something else, so I imagine I did not enjoy it.
I've 3 times I've gotten to the middle point of that game and have all 3 times have been like, I cannot continue on.
Yeah.
The game is just too long. The combat is too boring. It's too slow. Like, what game's world is bad and it's you're too slow in that is when you use your abilities outside of combat to get speed. To like go faster for like a little bit. And
like,
then
let me use this teleport to like go in between towns.
So you know what the fucked up part is in that game? They have horses, right? You know what the difference between walking on land versus walking on your horse is?
Like 10%.
No difference. They're the same speed.
Dude.
Actually, no, that's not true. Excuse me. I meant to what I meant to say was the difference between walking with your horse versus running on your horse. Same speed. The only
Bro.
thing they did was they added like the lines that make it seem like you're moving faster. That's the only thing they did.
That's awful.
I
That is.
fucking hate that game. If you like Inquisition, you are a better person than I am because I cannot stand that fucking game.
That's not the one that won Game of the Year, right? It was Origins?
Yes, that was the one
Origins?
that back. No. Inquisition won like 2014. I want to say. I feel like that was
2013. First
was it
game of the year.
okay.
Dude, you know what that beat out? And I have no fucking clue how. Shadow of Mordor.
That came out in 2013.
Yeah.
Damn, I thought that
And
was like
that introduced
2016.
that introduced the Nemesis system.
Yeah.
I don't know how, because that game is incredible.
Do you remember when that game first came out? Do you remember the drama that was surrounding it?
I remember the drama for Shadow of War. Because
Yeah.
the
Well,
end game
the first game.
I don't remember a
So
lot of drama
the
for Shadow of Mordor.
the big issue with the first game was people were saying it was too similar to Assassin's Creed, and when they're showing off gameplay, you're showing off like the running and like the jumping and shit like that, and they're like,
Oh, yeah, the running
this
animation
is
is definitely
they're
Assassin.
like this is too similar to Assassin's Creed. I'm like, so what? You know, like it's just
Like, who would have thought that games inspire each other? What?
you know,
I
like unless your character has like fucking some crazy like gimp or like a weird like walk in his leg or something like that, all the animations are gonna be the same.
Yeah, running like a good running animation is gonna look similar to other good running animations.
Who'd have thunk?
Uh, Interesting. Yeah, I don't remember that. I just remember the game being great.
Yeah, no, I remember the same thing.
I like,
Because
and that
I vividly remember people were like, very upset that it looks very similar to Assassin's Creed. Is it just gonna be a complete ripoff, whatever? And I'm like, it's in fucking the Lord of the Rings universe, for Christ's sake, man.
dude, the gameplay is nothing like Lord. You're like a god once you get powered up. Like the
People are weird,
abilities you
man. I
have are
don't know.
crazy. And yeah, that whole Nemesis system. I remember when they showcased that, I was like, holy, and it makes sense too.
Yes.
Like, why wouldn't they remember you? You know? I thought it was so cool, and I can't believe Dragon Age beat it out. Like that was.
I did not like Inquisition at all.
Yeah.
I've like I said, I have like on my EA the app for PC.
Mm-hmm.
I see the hours played. It's like 50, 60 something hours. You know, and like
Damn.
I've 3 different times I've tried to get to that point. There's like a very distinct middle point in the game where like something happens with the main villain, and you have to do this crazy walk to like another castle. Essentially, 3 different times I've tried. I can't do it, man. I can't take this shit anymore.
Damn. Yeah,
So,
that's. I don't know who said it, but there was a game director who was like, if people are using your fast travel a lot, it's because everything in between combat sucks.
mm-hmm.
I'm like, you know what? That's
I mean,
fair.
essentially,
Like,
and even the combat sucked in that game.
I don't
So.
think. I think I've used fast travel like 3 times in the newer Spider-Man games, because who the hell wants to skip either swinging or like web winging around? It's so much fun.
And that's how you know it's done right.
Yeah. Dude, that's how I feel about Witcher 3. I've tried to hop in Witcher 3 like 4 times. I do not like the combat, man.
Yeah, and
I
listen,
love how the world looks. And people,
yeah,
the combat. I don't like it.
it's a little bit better when you level up, because once you get like the first couple of set of skills you get is just like enhance like your fast attack, enhance your heavy attack or whatever. You know, as you get down the trees a little bit heavier, you'll get to like there's one move you get where you like hold your blade over your head and like spin around, just like cut everybody up. You know, there's some crazy like heavy swings and shit. I can understand not liking the combat though. My main issue with Witcher 3 is the like loot system, the inventory system. Because let's say I do a mission for this guy, right? He gives me like this crazy sick like legendary sword. 3 levels later, I'm gonna find a plain ass shitty sword that is way better than that sword. You know,
Yeah, no,
it's like
that's a no-go.
it's like, oh yeah, I'm losing out on like the 8% crit damage. Yeah, I'm losing out on like some health regen or whatever the fuck. But I'm like, objectively, it does more damage. You know, why would I not pick that?
That's bullshit. Yeah. Yeah.
Like I
See,
hate. Yeah,
I'll still give like the next Witcher. I assume they're going to update the combat and whatnot, so I'll give that a try. But
you
I
haven't even played
just
Cyberpunk,
I've started it.
but you
I've
haven't
got like
finished it.
that's true, but I've got like 2.5, maybe 3 hours in.
You
It's
need to
dude.
finish
I
the
know
game.
it's the first person. I wish it was third person, and I know that
No, you
affects
do
how it
not.
plays.
You do not wish it was third person, and I'll tell you why. Because this game, it does something no other fucking game does, which is first person. 100% first person.
All right.
The only time
Oh,
you get out of first person is for driving.
which
Everything
I
else is
do
first
like.
person.
I do
So
like
when you're
that.
having all your cutscenes, you're looking motherfuckers in the eye. There's a scene with Adam Smasher like very early on, and you're doing something called a BD, a brain dance. You're doing this brain dance, whatever, and he's like walking into the elevator. He's like looking at you. You fucking feel terrified, you know, because it's in first person, right? It gives you like that shock factor, that shock value, you know.
Interesting.
Um, there's a cutscene after the first big mission where you're in a car and you're looking over and you're kind of celebrating and you're looking over. You're like, oh damn, you know. Uh, it's just yeah.
All
If
right.
I initially was also upset that there was no third person, right? Because that's what they marketed the game as.
Yeah.
Was a first and a third person. I remember watching all the fucking videos up to that point because this was my game of the decade I was waiting for. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then they showed off some new gameplay, and then they announced that, hey, we're only going to be first person. And I was like, ooh, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And then I played the game, and then I kept playing the game, and then I kept playing the game, and I'm like, this was the best decision they could have made. You know,
Interesting. Okay.
like
I'll hop back
there's
into it.
something about first person in that game that I feel is just done so well. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's a little disjarring, and I understand being in first person all the time. It could be potentially awful for some people. Um, uh, but that is one of the best games I've ever played. And pre-patch, I've played the game on release when it first came out, December 2020, and then I played it again last year, post-patch, all the DLCs, stuff like that. I can successfully and confidently say that this is one of the best games of all time, and more people need to play it.
Yeah. I will. I'll hop back in because right now it's kind of a dry spell for me. Well, not really dry, but like Space Marine 2, I beat the campaign. You know, I'm still
Mhm.
playing like PvP and operations, and that's fun, but I want like another single player, like deep, that I can get into. And nothing comes out. Yeah, I don't think anything comes out until October, which is Dragon Age. I feel like that's the next big game that comes out that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Oh,
So what you're saying is you got a month to play
shit.
Cyberpunk.
But there's Age of Mythology Retold, and that is like the first PC game I ever played. Okay. I'll balance between those two because that one,
My first PC game was Shogo Mobile Armor Division.
well, I guess
I
real
love that
PC
game.
game because I played like pinball, but I
I
don't
know
count
we don't
that.
count that. We're talking the
Yeah, okay,
actual
okay.
like
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, that's a mech game.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
play as Sanjuro Makabe, whatever his name is.
Uh-huh.
You gotta go rescue your girlfriend slash wife, who's like the general's daughter.
Ooh,
It's a
damn,
great
that's
game.
a sticky situation.
So you go from mech to first person combat to mech, and in the mech you have like these crazy big like fucking heavy guns that you're just like lighting everybody up with. You can
That sounds
transform
great.
into like a flying like ground like vehicle that just like zooms around. You're fucking blowing shit up. You're fighting other mechs. There's one sick ass big mech you fight that like kills your friend. Great game.
Damn.
Love it.
Sounds good.
Love that game. I still go back and play it every couple years because I love that game so much.
Interesting. Wow, I might have to look into that. I could probably
It's
get it for
on
like $1 at this point.
yeah, it's on GOG, Good Old Games.
Okay. Oh, dude, Plucky Spire.
What'd you call
Plucky
me?
Squire. You'd like that one. That's the one where you're a 2D in a book playing, and then you become 3D. Sometimes you jump out of the book. It's in the same vein as like, oh, that one comes out in 3 days, and it's a day one PlayStation Plus exclusive, or
Lucky
not exclusive,
Squire.
but it's like a day. It's a free day one release on PlayStation Plus.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, this looks fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like fucking uh Paper Mario kind of.
Yeah, that's what it looked like, sort of.
Yeah, that looks fun. It has like, it reminds me of Captain Underpants. It has like that same art style.
Yeah, and like I said, it's free. So
I'll give that a shot.
And then Frostpunk 2 looks pretty cool. I didn't play the first one.
Frostpunk. I've never played the first one as well.
It's like the dystopian frozen city builder.
Yeah,
it looks pretty cool. So, but yeah, I'll hop back into Cyberpunk. Dude, I remember us having like an hour conversation on Graveshift one night where we talked about what the potential multiplayer could be.
Yes, because that's how excited I was for that game, and I wish it still existed. I know that somebody's making there's a modder who's trying to make a like GTA 5 style.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Like, you know, you guys can join. Yeah, there's like 30 people in a lobby, 32 players in a lobby. You know, I'm like, dude, that sounds like some fucking real shit. You know,
that'd be awesome.
Oh, speaking of mods, Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh yeah, the open campaign.
It got the mod manager, and it also got the dev toolkit released. So I've already seen somebody has made a custom map, and it plays.
Dude, I saw. Yeah, keep going.
All that sounds like to me is we're probably going to see some D&D campaigns and stuff like that be recreated in Baldur's Gate. So imagine like Tales of Avernus. You know, imagine fucking Curse of Strahd.
Dude,
you know,
instead of imagine like, yeah, you could still play D&D, but also if all your members have Baldur's Gate, like 5 years in the future, there'll be like a website full of Baldur's Gate campaigns. Oh, let's do this campaign today. Everyone downloads it and you hop in and build your character. Like, dude,
imagine the mods, dude.
Oh my god!
Imagine the mods on top of that. Imagine like you play as whatever class you want. You have all spells from like 5th edition. You know, 3.5. Fucking maybe a little Pathfinder. You could do Warhammer games potentially. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, the devs are fucking amazing. I saw a meme. It's like, oh no, somebody unlocked the whatever, like the campaign manager, and then it says like in quotes, Larian slides in dev kit. Oops.
Sorry.
Oh, too bad something happened. Now it's out there. We can't do anything about it. It's like, all right.
Yes.
I know what you're doing.
And we're coming close. I have another buddy that I'm playing with. It is his very first campaign.
Mm-hmm.
We're literally at the very last part of the game. We just spoilers. We spent the last like 3 weeks in Act 3, cleaning up, doing all the hard missions and shit like that. So we just finished. We killed Orin. We did the Iron Throne. We did Gortash. We did Cazador. We killed the Murder Tribunal. So that's Saravok and all 3 of the ladies. That was fun. We just did Raphael last night. We did the cheese though, where before you do the whole House of Hope, you put up a bunch of explosive barrels. And then I put everyone in a globe of invulnerability, and then I shot my fire arrow through that, and it blew up the whole room. But he still survived with like 100 something else, so we killed him.
Damn, I hear
that was fun.
I love how that's like the cheese. It's like after a boss takes you, 5 more tries, it's like, all right, I'm gonna go find some barrels.
So the wonderful thing about this game, right, is that I know what I'm doing for the most part, So throughout the whole campaign, I kept asking for 2 things. I was like, oh, we're gonna need to pick up a shit ton of barrels, right? Any smoke powder barrels or oil barrels, we need to pick up those. Fireworks, we're gonna need to pick those up, and I'm gonna need giant fingers. And they didn't know why. They kept asking me, well, why? Why do you need giant fingers? I was like, because I need to make some potions, right? They're just assuming like, oh, I'm making like something for my character. It's like,
Right.
no, because even though gold is pretty common in this game, a lot of potions aren't. So
Yeah.
if I can craft all the cloud or giant cloud or hill giant potions and cloud giant potions, that'll boost our strengths up to 21 for the first one and 27 for the cloud giant. What that allows us to do is to pick up way more barrels. So when we went in there last night, and we picked up like no joke, like I think we placed down like almost 40 or 50 something of those barrels,
God
you know.
damn.
And I was carrying most of them, but the closest fast travel was like it was pretty close, but not that close. So I'm like, we're all encumbered, walking hella slow to the house or to the Devil's Fee or whatever. It's like, man, there is no other game that gives you that type of feeling. You know what I'm saying?
I love it,
And
man. You can just like fight how you want. You can.
dude.
What is I just saw one. It's on the Game Ranks video, and they're like, "This is one of the hardest fights, or one of the most annoying." Yeah, it's an enemy who gets buffed by like ghosts, and they're like,
Oh, in Elden Ring.
"No, in Baldur's Gate, it's like it's him, and then he's got like 2 or 3 ghosts that buff him, and the way to beat him easily is use the what's the move? Not alternate weapon. It's like where you pick up an item and use it as a weapon.
Oh, improvised weapon.
Improvise. You pick him up as an improvised weapon. Walk out of the little hall that he's in. Just make sure you don't walk and use up all your stamina, and then drop him. He loses all the buffs. The ghosts don't follow, and then you can just wail on him.
I'm trying to think of what fight you're talking about.
I'll tell you after this.
Is
I'll,
it I mean, it's not Ghost, but it's that fight. If you kill the 3 women, they'll buff him.
Maybe
I don't
that's
remember.
who it is.
Because that one's Sarevok. That's Sarevok in Act 3 where you have to do the whole murder tribunal with like Orin and shit like that, you know. Normally you talk to him and you
No,
fight
it wasn't
him.
her. Well, maybe it was. I don't remember. I'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But you saw the fight we did yesterday. You're in Discord with us. We fought the dragon.
Yeah, that was
Love
cool.
that fight. And you saw how much damage I was doing with my build.
Oh yeah,
I did
dude,
almost close to half of his health in one turn with that build, and I fucking love it.
Crazy. Like
That's
shit, man.
what is it? 6 levels of bard, 4 levels of rogue, 2 levels of fighter.
Whew.
Yeah. So dual crossbows. I have a whole gearing. I was been using it on Steam. It's a whole gearing guide on like what's the best gear, shit like that. You know, doing that. So, fucking
What a
great game,
man. Yeah.
Love it. I can't wait for us to finish that his first actual campaign. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. A game is just gonna keep on giving.
Especially now with all the we got the mod manager now, so people can just upload their own mods. I saw some Goku mods where you get access to all forms of Super Saiyan, including Ultra Instinct. I think. I saw like a crazy like Final Flash that like blows up everybody.
Oh my god, that's great.
I definitely want to start experimenting with mods now. I just don't know which ones. So
that could be a fun. Okay, it's not picking that up good. That could be a fun like video for us. Is like Goku and Vegeta take on Baldur's Gate.
Dude, I'm in there. There's one that's Master Chief. I saw it was Master Chief with him and the gun.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then he's like holding the gun. Who are you? I'm Master Chief, bitch. I'm just like,
oh, that's
hell
great,
yeah.
man. What do y'all think? What do you think of Baldur's Gate, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Dune?
Listen, Spider-Man 2 did not deserve the Game of the Year over Baldur's Gate.
I can attest to that. I'm a big Spider-Man slurper, but Baldur's Gate 3 is just built different. That is a generational game.
Absolutely
100%. So, let us know what y'all think. Enjoy episode 42. Hydrate, caffeinate.
Yes.
Get your 8 hours of sleep. And y'all have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, we're coming up on November, guys.
That's right.
Hold it till then.
December 1st.
I'm gonna go Super Saiyan.
Oh God. Now have a good rest of your day.
Yeah.
Yeah.